So as you may or may not have heard, there's going to be a new Lord of the Rings movie in 2026. And this is both exciting and scary, because the Lord of the Rings trilogy is one of those trilogies, and each movie in and of itself are ones that you would put on this pedestal of being just top tier cinema. And the Hobbit movies, they get more flack than they deserve in my opinion, but they're still fun movies. They're good movies, even if they aren't necessarily on the same level as the Lord of the Rings movies. But the prospect of getting a seventh film is scary. And I know that it's been some time since it was announced that they were going to be making more movies, but now that we have it happening, it's kind of scary. And that's not really the fault of anyone involved with the film. It's gonna be titled The Hunt for Gollum, so you'd expect Andy Serkis to be back to be Gollum, which he will be. And he's also gonna be directing this movie, which is kind of exciting. And if you're one of those people who are like, oh, I wish Peter Jackson would be back to direct, don't worry, he'll be back to produce. So at the very least, he's gonna be right there involved. And I have full confidence that his influence will be seen and felt in this film. What worries me though is just the state of cinema right now. There's a lot of good cinematic pieces coming out, a lot of good films, a lot of good TV shows, but they're not really sequels. They're not really continuations of stories. Like the new Fallout show, I haven't seen, but that's based off of a game, or a game series, I should say. But that's kind of the first of its kind. There hasn't been another Fallout show, and that turned out really well, A couple years ago, you had Oppenheimer, you had Barbie. Those are both original pieces. You've got some other good things. Dune Part 2 might be an exception because that was really good. But I will say my faith in film has kind of been shaken in the last few years, and I'll tell you why. Multiverse of Madness, Thor Love and Thunder, that whole phase of Marvel, which was this behemoth for so many years, was just kind of mid. And then the DCEU before that, and still kind of during that, not great from what I understand. I haven't seen them all, but following the Dark Knight trilogy, following for Marvel, the Infinity Saga, is just disappointing. And other sequels as well. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but there are other sequels that have just let me down. And so I'm just worried about overdoing it. I feel like we have such a good thing with Lord of the Rings, and even with The Hobbit as well, that we're really gonna risk kind of tarnishing the legacy of the movies. Now, I have full confidence in Andy Serkis and Peter Jackson. They have never let me down. And that's where this kind of conflict comes in, is that I trust them fully to deliver. But it's just the industry I don't trust. Is some sort of executive gonna get involved and, mess something up? I really hope not. I really hope that they have full creative control and there's no meddling. But I don't know. I just am skeptical. And I don't know why for this movie in particular, other than I'm just skeptical about everything now. And I really don't want to be. I want to be excited. It's just hard to get excited. Is it just me? Does anyone else feel this way? Let me know.